Streets strewn with bodies, some with hands tied behind their backs, others seemingly killed execution style with a shot to the back of the head. These horrific scenes in Bucha, a northwestern suburb of Kyiv, drew swift condemnation from world leaders, with many demanding war crimes investigations and accountability. Meanwhile, the president of Ukraine is accusing Russia of trying to wipe out his entire country and its people.
Indeed, this is genocide. The elimination of the whole nation and the people. We are the citizens of Ukraine. We have more than 100 nationalities. This is about the destruction and extermination of all these nationalities. We are the citizens of Ukraine, and we don't want to be subdued to the policy of Russian Federation. This is the reason we are being destroyed and exterminated.
On Sunday, Russia denied killing any civilians. The Ministry of Defense claimed that the images coming out of Bucha are fake. Another statement alleged that the footage was staged. But similar stories have emerged across Ukraine. On Sunday, the regional military governor of Kharkiv said 23 people were killed when Russian forces fired on part of the city. And Human Rights Watch says it has documented allegations of war crimes in areas around Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Chernihiv. Fred Plykin was part of the CNN team on the ground in Bucha on Sunday. He's in Kyiv with the latest, and again, his report includes disturbing images.
Well, as the Russians continue to withdraw from areas here around Kyiv and towards the border with Belarus, so the Ukrainians move into these territories, I think two things are becoming increasingly clear. On the one hand, a lot more Russian military hardware was taken out than anybody would have thought. And on the other hand, a lot more civilians also came to harm as well. We witnessed some of that firsthand. Here's what we saw. As Russian forces retreat from the area north of Kyiv, in their wake, scenes of utter destruction. Whole blocks of houses flattened, Ukrainian authorities saying they believe dead bodies are still lying underneath. But here, the dead also lay in the open. Ukrainian National Police showed us this mass grave in Bucha, saying they believe up to 150 civilians might be buried here, but no one knows the exact number. People killed while the Russian army occupied this town. This is what it looks like when the hope is crushed. Vladimir has been searching for his younger brother, Dmitry. Now he's convinced Dmitry lies here, even though he can't be 100% sure. The neighbor accompanying him with strong words for the Russians. Why do you hate us so much, she asks. Since the 1930s, you've been abusing Ukraine. You just want to destroy us. You want us gone. But we will be. Everything will be okay. I believe it. Video from Bucha shows bodies in the streets after Russian forces left the area. Some images even show bodies with hands tied behind their backs. The Russian Defense Ministry denies killing civilians and claims images of dead civilians are, quote, fake. But we met a family just returning to their house in Borodyanka, which they say was occupied by Russian soldiers. They show us the body of a dead man in civilian clothes they had found in the backyard. His hands and feet tied with severe bruises and a shell casing still laying nearby. Russia's military appears to have suffered heavy losses before being driven out of the area around Kyiv. This column of armored vehicles in Bucha completely destroyed. The way the Ukrainians tell us is that the Russians were trying to go towards Kyiv, and they were then intercepted by Ukrainian drones, artillery, and also the Javelin anti-tank weapons. It's not clear how many Russians were killed here, but they say many were, and others fled the scene. A national police officer says the Russian troops were simply too arrogant. They thought they could drive on the streets and just go through. He says that they would be greeted as though it's all right. Maybe they think it is normal to drive around looting, to destroy buildings, and to mock people, but our people didn't allow it. And now it appears all the Russians have withdrawn from here. Ukraine says it is now in full control of the entire region around Kyiv. But it is only now that the full extent of the civilian suffering is truly coming to light. What we saw there in Bucha was obviously awful, but unfortunately, it's not something that is necessarily unique just to that one, a small town around the capital of Kiev. In fact, just today, we were in various other places, various other small towns and satellite towns around the Ukrainian capital, and every single one of them, we saw the same scene. We saw utter destruction, destroyed buildings where the local authorities said there's still dead people underneath, dead bodies in the street, dead bodies in backyards. And as the time progresses, as the Ukrainians make more and more inroads and access a lot more of these areas, unfortunately, they're probably going to find more of the same.